Hello friends and potential friends. Well, what a difference a week makes. And a bit of rain to boot. You've been listening to me whining about how tough it is growing things in Florida. This year in particular, March and April were pretty much stayed cool. It was almost like a fall or a spring, which we don't normally have here. And then in May the rain stopped and the temperatures went up into the 90s just about every day. And everything out here pretty much just stalled out. Well, first part of June we started getting fairly frequent morning and afternoon thunderstorms. Every 2 or 3 days we get a little bit of a thunderstorm. They would wet things down, maybe a sprinkle. We had a few that were good downpours. My rain barrels are all filled up again, and everything has started growing again. I think today's July 8th, 2019, and it looks like spring is finally getting here. Got some basil out here, elderberry that's still trying to come up. My gardenia, got this weirdo cactus. It's just laying down there in a pot on its side and growing crazy. Another elderberry over here. Got a datel pepper, another datel pepper. Got a number of rosemary cuttings. And there's the mama rosemary that still needs a haircut. Avocado did not make it, but it's not completely dead yet, so I'm leaving it there. This thing that I thought was amaranth, turns out it's an American beauty bush. You can see that it's starting to grow some seeds at the top. I'll probably pull that out. I've got these things growing all over the yard. This guy, the cactus, whatever he is still growing well. It did freeze back year before last, but then it put out a new shoot from the top, so it's still growing. My poor neglected horseradish back there. Got lemongrass, need to get that in a pot. More basil, my sugar cane still over here. A few more datel peppers, a few more rosemary bushes. Pineapples are starting to green up again now that they're getting some rain. Over in this side I've got quite a bit of turmeric coming up, but no ginger. The ginger's tried to come up twice now and died off both times because of lack of rain and too much heat. Jalapenos, I've got some fruit on these now. They're starting to wake up and starting to put out flowers. Got my datel pepper over here. This guy's a couple years old and it's got 2 tiny peppers on it. Looks like it's going to be putting out a few more pretty soon. Let's walk around here. The blueberry is standing up nicely. Lots of new growth on it. Been giving it my excess coffee every morning so it gets plenty of acidity. Still have some sweet potato slips that I need to get planted in amongst all the grass. And over here we have, in my catch-all garden bed, first off there's a sweet potato that's growing out here in the grass. Another sweet potato here. There's a blossom on one of the jalapenos and a fruit on another jalapeno. There's a couple more over there. They're starting to wake up. My potato experiment, the potatoes have died off. I've just been too lazy to dig them up, see if there's anything in there. I really doubt there is going to be anything. But I have noticed I've got a few more sweet potatoes coming up over here. They just keep popping up all over the place. And I still have one squash back here, spaghetti squash if I remember right. It's taking over from those weeds over there on the far side. Purslane is going crazy. Looks like all the flowers have died off, but I come out here every morning and it's covered with little yellow flowers. Seems to be happy here. My pepper bed, we're starting to get more blossoms. These things are starting to wake up again. And there's a little bit of a banana pepper there. A couple more over on the far side over there. I don't know whether you can see that or not, but there's one that's about 2 inches long over there. On down the lane, it looks like there's some, might actually get a bell pepper. Is that going to happen? I don't think I've ever gotten a bell pepper before, but there are a couple on this plant, and there's some more blossoms here and there on several of the other plants. That's a habanero out there, and it's got a couple of blossoms on it. Looks like the Tabascos down there have got some blossoms on them. Oh, there's our crab spider again. Can you see that guy? He's a cute little thing. It's totally harmless. Their body is shaped like a blue crab. Real pretty colorings on them. This is the bed where I had my tomatoes and collards. As you can see, I've pulled everything up here. Haven't got my mulch down on that back part of it, although I did add another layer of compost to it. I think I'm going to add another layer of compost to bring it up a little bit higher before I put the mulch on it. And a couple of volunteer sweet potatoes growing in here. My sweet potato bed, I'm calling it that because basically the beans did nothing. I planted a bunch of great northern beans along here. They're still alive, just barely. Some of them still have some blossoms on them. I think I've actually gotten 3 beans off of these since I planted them. And they're not doing well at all. They could not handle the heat and the lack of rain in June. Sweet potatoes have all started growing again, spreading out. I'm going to leave them in here for, I'll probably be digging those up sometime in September, is my guess. Let me pause you and I'll go back to the back part of the yard. Okay, back in the back corner. I think I've told you this started out as my squash bed. I believe these are spaghetti squash. Most of them died off in May and June, but these few managed to survive. Since most of them died off, I went ahead and planted my moringa in here. As you can see, it's growing well. And then the squash started growing again. And I'm a little bit too late, but right down there you can see a blossom that came off. That was opened up this morning. And there's another blossom that looks like it'll probably be open tomorrow. This is part of the vine that's outside of the bed. But there are a few more spots. It looks like some of the other plants are going to be blooming pretty soon too. Might actually get some squash out of the deal. I don't know. This weather's weird. If someone could explain the weather to me, I would sure appreciate it. Sugarcane doing what sugarcane does. So far I've kept it contained to this 4x4 bed. I don't think it's going to stay contained much longer. There's my yard art back there. No bees have decided to move into it yet. And then I got my fig tree over here, and that's doing well. And off in the distance is my ponderosa lemon, which again, I'm going to walk over there. There's something worth looking at, even though I'm kind of disappointed in this year's crop. Mainly because this lemon is about the size of a small lemon. Should be the size of a big grapefruit. The good thing about it is standing right here, I'm smelling blossoms all over the place. When I look around, I've got blossoms all over the place. Remember, this is July, folks. This is not spring. But apparently the plants think it's spring, because we're finally getting our spring rains, which of course helped cool things down a little bit too. So we'll be getting some more lemons on here possibly. Hopefully they grow up and do what they're supposed to do this time. I guess that's about it, folks. Everything seems to be starting to crank up again. As long as the rains keep coming and keeping the temperatures down and we don't get any hurricanes, we might actually get something this year after all. So it's time for me to quit whining. I'll talk to you on the next one.